So hello everybody, I'm Ray, and as per my name, I love to read. So today I've decided to make a video about this year's PopSugar Reading Challenge 2024, which launched on Friday. So it's, for those of you who aren't familiar with the PopSugar Challenge, it's a list of 50 prompts that are released kind of on the 1st of December every year. So December is amazing because it means you just get to spend like all the time kind of curating books that fit the prompts and getting excited about it, and then the idea is to read them in the next year. I've done it since 2017 and I haven't completed a challenge yet. I tend to get very excited when I'm choosing the books, spend a lot of time on it, and then get distracted because because there's so many other books out there. But this year I'm intending to do it properly. I'm intending to finish. I said this last year, but this year I mean it. Apologies if I look a little bit iffy. I've got a bit of a cold, so if I'm sounding quite hoarse, I'm hoping it's I hope it's not too noticeable. Anyway, so first I'm going to talk a little bit about the prompts that I'm most excited about. Then I'm going to talk a little bit about the ones that I'm probably going to struggle with, and then just a few ideas for what I'd like to see in the future in these challenges, because hearing the prompts is the most exciting bit, and just going through your books looking for ones that might fit, it's just so much fun. Okie dokie. So my favourite prompt this year, if you want to find the list, by the way, you just Google PopSugar 2024 and the challenge comes up. It's got a website. There's a graphic with all the prompts on. There's 50 of them, 5 of which are advanced. So if you want to have a look at them, just bring them up now. But my favourite prompt out of the whole lot is the one which is to read a book that centres on video games, because I love video games. It's my other passion apart from books. And I've got so many books that I want to read that are centred on video games. Ones I've already read, so if perhaps you've not read any books about video games before and you want to kind of explore the genre, the most obvious ones that spring to mind are Ready Player One, which is great fun. They made a film out of it. Film's all right too. And it's definitely worth reading, particularly even if you're not a fan of the 80s, it's a fun adventure novel centred around a guy who's trying to unlock a quest. Basically in a video game world, trying to stop the bad guy. And it's a really entertaining novel that people can enjoy even if they don't like video games. Another one that I would recommend for people who haven't read it already is one by Chris Brookmyre, and it's called, oh my goodness, what's it called? Bear with me 1 second. Yeah, I've actually no idea where I've put it. We're off to a good start. Read a book by Chris Brookmyre. Chris Brookmyre is amazing. Obviously a huge... Ooh, phone's falling over now. I've got it propped up on some books. Anyway, yes. Oh, 1 sec. Yeah, you can tell I'm new to this, can't you? So there is a book by Chris Brookmyre about someone who gets trapped in... it's called Bedlam. Bedlam by Chris Brookmyre. It's about a guy who gets trapped in a video game. Chris Brookmyre is one of my favourite authors. It's really good fun. But the ones I'm looking at this year... So I bought this the other day. This is actually a non-fiction book of essays, critical hits, which I believe is just people enthusing about video games that they've played. I'm really looking forward to reading that next year. It's probably only suitable for people who have, I would guess it's suitable for people who have an interest in video games, and want to reminisce, but I may be wrong, so I'll give that a read. I've also got this bumper volume about handheld gaming history, which, to be honest, I mainly just like for the pictures, because you can reminisce back on all the handheld games that you played, and back to the day when I had a big yellow Game Boy and it was the height of excitement. I still love that thing. I only had about 6 games for it, but boy, did you just play them for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. Yeah, so, and if you're looking for a fiction book, I've heard good things about this one. Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. Just going to show off my edges there. I do love a sprayed edge, but I've heard that this is amazing. It's been strongly promoted in Waterstones. And there's another book on my video game to-do list called You by Lev Grossman. No, not by Lev Grossman. He did The Magicians. Oh, yeah. I'm doing a great job today, but it's called You and it's about video games. So I'll just have to review that in a future video. Apologies for being forgetful. So that's the prompt I'm most excited about. That's the prompt that's most me. And also another one, a book about pirates. So this is a great quote because it's nice in general. There's lots of piratey books out there. The one I've chosen for it is another one I bought last year being this year, which is The Adventures of Amin al-Sarafi. And she is a pirate. I understand she's a middle-aged protagonist, which is nice because we don't often get a lot of, representation of middle-aged women in fiction. It tends to be either young folks or maybe Miss Marple. But so that's refreshing. And again, got to show off the edges because I'm a little bit obsessed. But those of you who haven't read it already, my favourite pirate book in the world is it's Ship of Magic. That's the start of the trilogy by Robin Hobb, and it's the Live Ship trilogy. So essentially, not only have you got kind of a fantasy pirate story, but you've also got talking ships that there's just so much to unravel. It's an absolutely wonderful trilogy, and it works for another prompt as well, which is a book that's got more than 3 points of view. So if you read the first one, you can put it down as a pirate one, read the second one for the points of view. Once you've read the trilogy, you'll have hit several prompts, or you could just double dip, which is where you do kind of, because obviously not everyone's got time to read 50 books a year, so you can kind of double up the prompts, which is fun to do in itself. Another one that is very popular right now is cozy fantasy. So sorry, I'm a little bit bunged up. So the one obviously that comes to everyone's mind, is Legends and Lattes, which was hugely popular, and I loved it. It's a story about an orc who retires and opens a coffee shop, and it just makes you want to retire and open a coffee shop. It's absolutely wonderful. Nice characters. Some people argue that not much happens, but it's about the atmosphere. It really makes you want to be there. And there's a prequel. So again, we've got some lovely edges. You're seeing a theme here. This one's Bookshops and Bone Dust, which apparently explores what the main character, Viv, I think her name is, what she was doing before the events of Legends and Lattes. I've not read it yet. Legends and Lattes was also a NaNoWriMo. It was also a NaNoWriMo book, so if you're stuck for one for that, that's actually quite a difficult prompt, and it's a repeat as well. So I used Legends and Lattes last year, and I think I'm going to use. Did have it with me. If you look in any other direction, there's just kind of stacks of books everywhere where I've been hauling them about, so I've pointed it safely this way. But yeah, I'm probably going to read The Night Circus for it because I've heard that's good, and that's probably one of the most famous NaNoWriMo novels. Another good one would be My Sister the Serial Killer. I believe that was a NaNoWriMo project as well, and that's good fun. It's a really good read. I love so many of these prompts. I know usually when it comes out, a lot of my literacy friends are, often quite disappointed with the prompts, but I quite like these. I think they're good. And I like that they're encouraging us to read both more diversely. So obviously we've got a non-fiction book by about Indigenous people on the list, which is good. We've got fiction by a trans or non-binary author, a horror by a person of colour. So lots of, and also a book by a deaf author or a hard of hearing author, and a book by a blind or partially sighted author as well. So I really like that it promotes that, and that it's getting us all to kind of read diversely. Not just diversity though, it's also going to encourage me to read about subjects that I don't usually dabble in. So like sport. Sport is something I know very little about. It's one of those things where if you put it in front of me, I'll probably kind of get into what it is, whether it's curling or women's football or whatever it is. I'll tend to, if it's on in the room, I'll tend to get interested, but I don't like go out and seek it. So asking us to read, it's a book about women's sport or by a female athlete. That's good. We've also got autobiography from a woman in rock and roll as well. A book about K-pop, and a book from a genre you usually avoid. So there's lots of stuff to kind of get us reading more around different topics, and from different points of view. So that's really, really good. Now, there are a few prompts that I'm going to find a little bit difficult, and I've already managed to have a sulk, because there's a prompt which is 24 letters in the title, and I swear I counted that, and then there were none had 24, so I was like, yes, I've got it, I've nailed it. I know what I'm doing for this one, and then I recounted them this morning and there's only 20. So yeah, that's difficult, because it's like, you can't read a book with 23 letters in the title, it has to be 24. It's very picky. So that one's going to cause a lot of annoyance, I think. But hopefully I'll find something. And if you've got any suggestions, please drop it in the comments, because I'm all ears, and I always like an excuse to buy another book. The other one that I've already had a stress with, so it's to read the 24th book by an author. This is difficult, because first you have to find the list. And then by the time you get down the list, you'll be counting them. By the time you get to 24, it's one you've already read. So so I was looking through all my favourite authors that have written like a lot of books. So I looked for Harlan Coben. Absolutely adore Harlan Coben. His Myron Bolitar series is great fun. I've read number 24. So I was like, nope, right back to the drawing board. Agatha Christie. Agatha Christie's written loads and loads and loads of books as well. Go down them in order. No, I've read number 24. Okay. Stephen King. Stephen King's written lots of books. I haven't read many Stephen King books, so yes, this is a great opportunity to... Oh no, it's It. It is his 24th book, and I read it a couple of years ago. So yeah, this is going to be difficult. I may just give up and read the Colleen Hoover one that it recommends. But yeah, no, so I need to do some more thinking about that. That is going to be frustrating. Other ones, leap in title. I'm not totally on board with this one either, because I've had a look through books that have a leap in the title, and there aren't many that would make me. There aren't any that I'm getting excited about. So yeah, that's going to be a difficult one. Hopefully someone's going to bring out a wonderful book this year with leap in the title, because yeah, like I say, I'm a bit stuck for inspiration on that one for the moment. And the other ones that I find really, really difficult are the ones that specify. So there's two prompts that specify a main character with a certain age. So there's one that's a character who's 24, and one that's a character that's 42. And like, it's very specific. A lot of books will just say, oh yeah, I'm in my early 20s, or oh, I'm going on 40 or whatever, and it's very specific. And like I say, books that tend to specify ages tend to be kind of, kids in their teens. Yeah, so this is going to be a tricky one. And it's a difficult one to Google as well. But I suppose that's part of the fun of the PopSugar Challenge. You can't just, if you had all the books already, there would be no challenge to it. Well, there would still be a challenge because you'd be reading 50 books in a year. But yeah, so those are going to be tricky. I might need some help for those. And the other one, there's a prompt that's a book with a one-word title that you had to look up. The only thing that comes to my mind with that one is a book called The Quincunx, which I have no idea what a quincunx is. I think I looked it up and I still don't know what a quincunx is. Sounds rude. But like that's it. But I like to do things by the book, and it's got "the" in the front of it, which doesn't mean it's a one-word title. But yeah, I think I'll just have to walk around the bookshop until I find a word I don't know and be like, right, well, this shall be my my choice for that prompt. Yeah, happy to accept any clues or ideas, anything that you might think of for that. Overall, I'm really happy with the list of prompts. There's a lot of stuff that I've already got. There's a lot of stuff that I'll be able to kind of buy specially for it. There's, yeah, like I say, I'm always really excited when it comes out. Another one that I've written down is the one that's a book with a title that's a full sentence, and that's a good prompt as well, because there's lots of non-fiction books that kind of have like a rhetorical or like a kind of sentence to lure you into them. And yeah, a lot of other books as well. So there's The Body Is Not an Apology, which I've got on my reading list that I really want to read. There's What You're Looking For Is in the Library, which looks like a cute Japanese fiction novel. There's just too many choices for that one. I think they should just have that prompt about 5 times because it's a good one. And right, so before I go, I've actually had a think about what kind of prompts I'd really like to see in future challenges. And apologies if these have come up before my time with the PopSugar Reading Challenge. But I was thinking, so one of my favourite genres is dark academia, and dark academia is huge at the moment. But so a prompt like a dark academia with a magical element to it, you've still got loads and loads of things to choose from there. So that'll be a really cool prompt. A non-fiction book by a disability rights activist, that would be quite a good one as well, because I've read some fantastic books recently, and they're books that I really just think should be read more widely. So, for example, there's a book called Sitting Pretty by Rebecca Tausig, which is an incredible piece of writing because it's very persuasive, really like gets you thinking about disability rights in a different way, and it's just one that I donated it to the library, I think, because I just want everyone to read it. Yeah, so that would be a good one. Translated classic, maybe. There's loads of classics that I want to read. A lot of them are kind of old English classics, so a translated classic would be something a bit more just adds an extra layer to it. I don't think we've had any graphic novel prompts in a while, so a graphic novel prompt would be good. Everyone loves a good either comic or graphic novel. Ghost story written more than 100 years ago, or a gothic novel, that sort of thing. I'd be excited about that too. And yeah, or a book about philosophy maybe, because it's something that there are lots of books on, but perhaps we don't really talk about that much. I don't see a lot of it on social media, but maybe I'm just looking in the wrong places. So yeah, those are like my ideas, like the ones that came to my head as like, oh, it'd be good to have those in future years. Anyway, I'm going to stop babbling on now. I'm going to go and organise my reading lists, and yeah, and get ready for the reading year ahead. See you later.